All right, today on the podcast, we are joined by a guest, which is very exciting. So, Gemma, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you.
Now, Mia's not here with us today. She's sick. She's got babies, as that happens. They're always sick when you need them. And then we couldn't get on the Riverside app, so we're in Zoom, and then my mic wouldn't work. So it's always a fun day being an entrepreneur. Now, we have invited Gemma on the podcast. We're going to hear her story, understand what she's done so far, where she is in her journey. And if I don't know much of it, which is the best part about when we do these kinds of conversations, because I want to make sure that we really hear your journey and your story and where it all began for you. So have you got I know you've got your own business. I know you've a bit of a spicy brain, as we discussed. And it's one of those things that as an entrepreneur, I think we continuously just keep turning to things that we might enjoy and trying things. And so I'd love to hear your journey and how you got to where you are, and let us know about your business, which we will spell out because I believe that it is pronounced Zate. Is that correct?
Yep. Spot on, you got it.
Yes, that's good, but it's not spelled like that, is it?
Yeah, I've got Maltese background, so it's spelt in the Maltese way, which probably means nothing to you guys. It's not that important, but people try and read it and they're like,
so it's Z-A-J-T, is that correct?
Z-E-J.
Z-E-J-T. Right. So there you go. So that's when you're looking for it. We will tag it below in the show notes so you guys can go and have a look. But Gemma, I'd love to just ask you where your entrepreneurial journey started. And I know that you're a mum, so we have a lot of listeners that are mums. And so it's really nice to hear people's story from kind of where they started, where they are now, and the roller coaster that is this incredible journey.
So if we're going to go back to my entrepreneurial journey, it actually probably started as a child and I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
So I would set up like fake little carnivals and stuff like that for my sister with mattresses over the back of the couch, and I would charge her 5 cents per ride, and all up she'd spend like $20 and I'd be going, yes, like cashing it in. So I've always done little things like that, but since I started like a part-time job, I started working in retail and I just kept the same job for 13 years. Never stepped outside of my comfort zone, just stepped up within that business until I sort of got sick of it. I think COVID changed a lot of things for a lot of people, and I had my baby and I was like, you know what? I'm going to start something and we'll see where this goes. And that's where I started Cozy Cow. So that was primarily kids' beanbags, but I had no idea what I was doing. And I just started buying socks and random things. Like I went overboard. I blew the budget, and essentially I just wasn't able to sell the stuff that well because it was so random. But I got really sick last year, and I didn't know it at the time, but it was endometriosis, which I'm sure a lot of listeners probably have experiences with that or similar.
Yeah.
I got to the point where I just couldn't work anymore what I was doing. So quit my job and started UGC within the same week. And I was like, I hope this works out because I need to rest. I need time with my baby and I need to do something to keep myself busy. And within the first month, I was making 4 figures. So I replaced my income. I was blown away with how that changed things. It also gave me so much confidence on camera and all that sort of stuff. And just recently, I sort of decided that I would start my own business again with the knowledge that I have now. Building it slowly and intentionally. I've set up a mailing list correctly, like got everything on board and on track. I really do want to work with creators. It's really interesting, like being on both sides of the fence. But yeah, that's sort of where I am at now and how I got to that point.
So when you started, if we go back to when you worked your typical 9 to 5, like what did that look like for you when you were doing your typical 9 to 5? And did you come straight out of uni and walk straight into a job, like the must do school, then do uni, then do a job, and then?
I started working at 15 at like a big department store, and I went to uni to be a teacher. I actually went twice, and both times I was like, oh, I just can't, it wasn't for me as much as I love teaching. Didn't see myself as a teacher. So yeah, I just stayed working there. And when I turned 18, I was like, I've got to get into management. Like I need to make more money. And I did all of that. And I only slowed down once I had my baby. I went to part-time and I was like, oh, no, it's just not doing it for me. Like it was a very physical, I know a lot of people probably think retail, you're just behind the register, but
boxes and stuff like that and moving stock.
I was unloading the truck and everything, like you're sort of everywhere, but it was good fun. It's just, I think I got past my expiry date there.
Yeah, and I think also, so when you have, like, I think this is the typical thing we seem to find, especially, I know Mia and myself being mums, we have that entrepreneurial spirit. Now, when you look back and you see those moments, like you said, with your sister and the couch, and there's so many things that I look back, I'm like, oh, that was a very big sign then. But you don't know it, I think, when you're that age. You just kind of keep doing what you do. But when you have kids, there is just something. Did you find like a moment or a time that you were kind of sitting around and just something like it was just this itch that you wanted to scratch? Was it that kind of feeling like you just thought there's got to be a different way?
Yeah, I just felt like when I started, it was a kids brand. So I was like, I want my baby to be with me at home and be more involved. And if I go and do work, he can be there. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it just was different. I didn't like the idea of just going to work every day and see you later.
Yeah.
Sorry about the bird in the background.
So in terms of, like having your baby and spending that time kind of stepping away from work to be with them. So did you have your endometriosis diagnosis after having your baby?
Yeah, so I've had it for about 10 years when I look back at my symptoms and stuff like that, but it got significantly worse after having him and like stopping the pill and all that sort of stuff. I was like, oh, something's really wrong here.
And so did you find that once you kind of identified that and knew that it was what it was and kind of went through that process, was that what kind of really spurred you on to see what was a different way in terms of like the UGC and discovering that and then your own business? Was that the kind of, I don't know, like a push just to find a different way, do you think?
Yeah, that was the push to leave a normal job. I was just like, something's got to change. And if this is endometriosis, I need to like find something else to do because I can't keep living like this.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I had my surgery and it was all confirmed, I was like, yeah, I've made the right choice, regardless of how hard it's going to be.
Yeah.
Running it all yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just need something that's going to be flexible with my life. And yeah.
And so curious to know, because I know with Mia's story, she was an AMBO and she was burnt out and just basically made that phone call, like, I'm not coming back to work, packed up her house, decided to take a caravan around Australia and had that same moment, like, okay, I have to kind of make it work now. And she ended up finding a video on TikTok in a wonderful scroll session that told her about UGC, and her kind of journey started from there. So for you, did you know about UGC before you kind of stepped into it, or did you find it like, okay?
I have heard of it like before I started it, and I did like look up other creators and stuff. I don't think I understood it when I began though. Like I saw a lot of aesthetic, skincare and whatever, like not actually talking about the product and being raw and honest about it and stuff like that. It was very glamorous. And I thought at the time, like, that's what brands want. But obviously you learn as you go and you learn what works, and they start running ads and you see like the return on investment and you're like, okay, that works, that doesn't.
And so what was your favorite part when you started the UGC process? What was the bit that you're like, okay, this could be good?
Probably the feedback, like just getting the hype and stuff on social media. Like I don't expect anything to go viral, and I don't actually want it to because I don't want to receive the hate. Yeah. But just all the positive comments and stuff, or just receiving messages from smaller brands saying, oh my gosh, can you make me something like this? I really want one. Yeah. The collaborations, all that. Like if it feels good, you're doing something good for a brand, whether it's paid or gifted. I don't really mind. I just love being creative and people actually enjoying it.
That's right. So when you kind of started your UGC journey, and for people that are listening that are wondering, like there's always that big step between, okay, you just start and you just create a video. But like what we want people to understand is that process that different people take to get to that end result, which is creating your first video, getting paid for it, or getting a gifted collab. So did you find something from around your house, create a video and send it to a brand, or did you contact brands first and say, hey, look, I'm starting to do UGC? What was your kind of process to get you started?
So I watched a whole bunch of videos and they said grab some products from around the house.
Yep.
So I did 3 videos at home just with like a hair straightener and things like that.
Yeah.
Put them out there. And then from there, I messaged some smaller brands myself that I knew they kind of needed a bit of support and a bit of like help on social media and stuff. So I just reached out and offered to do gifted collabs with them.
Yeah.
They all had audiences of about like 3,000 to 5,000 followers. I was like, it'll be a good collab. And they sent me their products. We did some videos and put them on both of our profiles. And from there, like it just got seen, and
Yeah.
I, to be honest, don't pitch very much because I don't like to do it. I don't think anyone likes to pitch, but yeah, I kind of attracted a brand, like a small brand market towards my videos rather than the big ones. I have done a couple of big ones, but yeah, I do enjoy working with smaller brands. It is a lot more complicated. Some of them have never heard of UGC, and you've got to go through the whole process of explaining what usage rights are and whatnot. But I mean, to me, it's all worth it in the end. Like,
Yeah.
you get paid and you do something good for a business. That's the main thing.
I think sometimes we had this discussion, I think recently on one of the podcasts, and Mia and I were saying there's a lot of people that, there's the advice that you can do a 30-second video and you get paid hundreds of dollars, and it's, so then there's this like really easy, oh my God. And then we saw one particular comment somewhere that was around, this takes a long time and it's not that easy. I was like, course it takes time. Like, like if you go to your job that you hate and you don't get paid what you want, like you still have to work to get paid. And so from a creator's point of view, because I want to then, like, because I was looking at through some of your content that you've obviously created for Zate as well. And I was like, you obviously really do understand how to edit and how to film. And so that's brought into your content as well for you now to be able to use as a small business owner building your brand. So do you think that journey through UGC and starting there really helped you, even doing the products from home and kind of starting from nowhere and building up? That was kind of part of your process to gain confidence and clarity around how to create content and what brands needed, and like building that confidence around what brands actually need. Do you feel like that was part of your journey in a really positive way that's allowed you to be where you are and kind of connect with brands you want to work with?
Yeah, 100%. Like, the comparison between starting Zate and Cozy Cow, I had no idea back when I was doing Cozy Cow. Again, I thought it was just all aesthetic shots. Like, no idea with marketing, nothing. And then since doing UGC, I know how to create. I know what I want to create. I know what brands do behind the scenes and what they ask for. So in all of that, like, I know what to create as well to make it not sound like an ad and show off products in a nice way that, encourages sales, but without going, hey, buy this t-shirt. It's really cool. Like, but it is also weird if anyone is doing UGC and looking to start their own brand. It does feel different making content for your own brand. Like, it's just not the same.
Yeah.
I feel like you're maybe a little bit more careless when it's somebody else's because you can do what you want and they're going to tell you if it's good or not. Whereas for your own, you're the one that's got to decide if it's worth putting out there. And most of the time, I would just say, just do it. Just put it out there.
Yeah, which is great advice, because I think sometimes, and this is one thing we talked about in our workshop recently, is when you're close to your product or your service or whatever it is, you become like, it's very hard to sell it because it feels gross and it feels uncomfortable because you maybe haven't quite understood that what you're creating is a service. And, it's that real marketing that you've got to get into and the brand messaging, all the story, where when you're doing it for somebody else, you kind of allows you to step back from that emotional connection and just sell the product and talk about the product. And it doesn't feel uncomfortable. It doesn't feel icky because you're talking about somebody else. It's so much easier to sell somebody else's product or service. And that's probably the blessing of UGC, and what we love to celebrate the most is because it allows you as a creator to, like you said so perfectly, you learn that skill of marketing. And not everybody did marketing. Like, my background is in brand and marketing, so I was lucky enough to do that, and that's part of my career. But it's very, now looking at it, the UGC creators that are successful are the ones that actually allow themselves to step into somebody's brand, understand the brand, and really make it authentic in terms of just, you're talking about that brand to your best friend or somebody that you feel comfortable with, rather than selling something that of your own that can feel really quite hard because you're so close to it. So I think in terms of brands that you've worked with, have you found any brands that you've wanted to create content that feels really authentic to you and the brand's been like, no, that doesn't really fit with us? Have you ever had a brand that you're like, no, but this is what I really think you should be talking about from my perspective?
I'll talk about one brand in particular. I was asked to do 4 videos for them, and they wanted them very specific. They weren't necessarily scripted. Yeah, they were just like very specific. And I did the 4 videos, and I sort of said to them, look, this is the one that I think would be a moneymaker. Like, run your ads with this one. And like, that they didn't listen. And look, I'm no expert in marketing. I have an opinion on my content, and so does everyone else. It might not have been the best one, but it was just clear. It was good. It was raw. Like, it was 100% better than the other 3. and they chose to use the worst one out of the 4 to run their ads. And like, unfortunately, nothing really came of it. But yeah, just things like that. It's a bit disappointing when they want a certain thing said or a certain thing done, and you're like, oh, it's just that isn't going to sell.
Yeah.
You know, all I can say for brands is to trust your creators as well. They know what they're doing.
I think that's really such an important message, and one that I know that Mia and I celebrate so much, because coming from the brand and marketing standpoint, you know, I know the KPIs and all of those things that the brands have to hit, and they know their message, they know their target market, like, you know, that's respect to them, they do. But when you're getting UGC, and the difference with the UGC is you're asking a user, usually, of that piece of content, a user of that product, sorry, that uses it in a way that works for them, uses it in a way that they love. So you kind of, as a brand, you do need to be a little bit flexible with, okay, that's how you use it. Like, that's how I could apply that. And just, it's for a brand's sake, just knowing that UGC is very different from your typical ad campaign, your typical kind of campaign you might put money behind with ads. It's more of really taking the perspective of the user and how they use the content and how they see a different perspective, because I think that's what's going to connect with a wider audience. So yeah, we totally agree with you. And I think Mia even had a client that she was working with, and they gave her a script and she did the script, and then she just went back to them and said, because we had a conversation with each other and we're like, but that's not, you know, as a mum, I want to know how, I don't care if it's got extra this and extra that. I want to know, is it going to save me money in my weekly shopping? Is it going to make my life easier? And is it going to fit in my kitchen? You know, and the brand hadn't even thought about that. So she went back to them, and apparently the brand were like, oh, okay, cool. We'll run with them. We'll try them. So it's important as creators, as well as you grow your portfolio, to have confidence to do what you did and send those ones back and say, hey, look, I think this one might work. Now, they're not always going to take it, but I think doing that also builds your confidence, and it allows you to put it into a portfolio that another brand might be like, oh, that's a great perspective. We might try that. So I think, yeah, I definitely agree with that. And what was the part of, or what is a part of UGC that if somebody was sitting listening right now and they're thinking, okay, that sounds kind of cool, but I can't do it. That just, it just, nobody, why would anybody want to pay me for a video? What would you say to them?
Just would say to try it. Like, I didn't think I would actually get paid for a video either. I was like, I'll just do this to help out some of my friends that have small businesses and whatever. And I was just sort of like taken back when people started offering me money or whatever. Especially the bigger ones. Like, I had a brand reach out and they wanted 13 videos straight off the bat. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, a lot. Honestly, I underquoted myself on that one because I was so new. I didn't know what to do. I'd only just made a contract up. Like, I had no idea. But like, got it done. It was fun. Just try it. That's all I can say. Like, if you don't put yourself out there, you're not going to know what your potential is going to be.
Yeah. And what I think is also important too, because, you know, we always have this discussion around the fact that there's so many incredible opportunities online. If you want to start online, you want to start earning an income, but a lot of them do take time to either build an audience or build your content or understand the platform and what your services and your products are. And they can take a bit of time. Worth it, yes, but they do take time. Where UGC is something that, considering you kind of replaced your wage within a week, did you say? Like, that's incredible, and something that it is possible. Like, I think that's the thing, is like, this is, we always say it's the fastest way that you can actually earn an income, a flexible income online. Plus you get to learn that incredible skill of marketing and branding and understanding how to build that. So I think, you know, if you are wondering, like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? The best thing.
I wouldn't be starting my clothing label if I didn't do UGC, because all the money I've made from UGC is what's funded it. Like, I had to convince my husband, hey, I'm about to drop a whole lot more money on another business after failing the first one. And I was like, but don't worry, I'll use all the money I did from UGC and that'll just fund it. And he's like, all right, whatever, you do your thing. But for people starting out, I'll probably just say, like, gifted collabs don't mean that you'll be unpaid forever. So take on gifted collabs. Like, those brands can grow with you. If you're going with like a startup brand as a startup creator, you can grow together. Like, for me as a brand and as a creator, I value relationships more than anything. Like, I would rather work with a creator that I've worked with before. We have a good relationship. They understand what I'm talking about. If I'm like, oh, hey, can you just fix this up or whatever? You know, building that relationship with a brand is key. Like, that's how you're going to get ongoing paid work.
Yeah. And you have just like totally lined up the perfect segues for us to go here. I was like, the first one was like, we're down that road. And I was like, yes, she's nailed it. We're talking about Brown. And then I was like, hang on a minute, let's pull back and talk about that point first. Because I think that is such an incredible point to make, because it's something that even when I started my career as a graphic designer, those of us that are in the creative world, we know that it's an undervalued skill. Even though it's such an important skill, it's very undervalued by most. So the amount of freebies I did and the amount of logos I did for $100 here and $100 there, but some of those landed me huge jobs and huge opportunities that would never have happened if I didn't say yes. So I do love that you've said that, because I think there's a line between obviously getting paid your worth, and there's also that line between those gifted collabs, like you've said, give you a couple of things, and that is the confidence to grow your portfolio, understand how to do content creation, and really feel comfortable to then charge your worth. And then also that, like you said, allows you to build those relationships with brands. And, what was nice is that it now sits exactly where you are, where you're building your own brand. And so now the language to speak directly to the creator. Like, that is key, because a lot of these brands, they don't understand how to brief a creator properly. And it's kind of part of the problem in this whole landscape as well. So I love that you've taken us that way, because I now want to really unpack your journey from kind of the first business that you created. And I love that nothing's ever a failure. We celebrate our failures, if you will, but you learned something. I bet you learned something that was valuable to where you're going now. Would that be correct? It's never a failure. It's always a lesson.
Yeah, that's it. A big, expensive lesson.
Yeah, and look, it hurts when there's money behind it. I'm not going to undervalue that at all, but I think if you could take, maybe we'll start with, if you could take one lesson from that maybe hit you in this next step, what would it be?
This probably applies to brands and creators, is to lower your expectations. So if you're starting a brand, don't expect you're going to sell out on day one, because it is not going to happen. That's the reality, unless you're some influencer or something crazy. Same with creators, don't expect to do one gifted collab and have some multi-million-dollar company messaging you saying, I want to retain a contract with you.
Yes.
That's not going to happen. They need to see your work. They need to see your example, your quality, everything in both brand and creator. Quality and what you're putting out there is essential. Like, they've got to judge you from it, basically.
Yeah. And what it does is kind of like, especially from that brand point of view, and in your first business, then into UGC, I imagine that learning was for you building that confidence around how to create and build an audience. Like, even though you don't have to start UGC with an audience, because it doesn't have to go on your page, you don't have to have lots of followers, but if you then choose to, off the back of that, build your personal brand and build a business brand, whether it's a product business or a service business, the UGC that you've done gives you the confidence around showing up on camera, the clarity around your content, and the ability for you to actually grow a community that support you. So I think that little lesson is beautiful in terms of knowing that these are skill sets that just allow you to build online for whatever you want. So in terms of stepping into your new business, and I love that you've backed it with UGC, because that for us is a massive message that sometimes UGC it's not always a long-term solution for everybody. And that's probably something that we celebrate most, is we see it as an incredible tool to begin your journey to become sustainable online, whether that is to build a bigger UGC portfolio where that's all you do, but you can kind of scale back and just do jobs you want, or whether it's to fund your business. So because you've used it to fund your business, at what point, because obviously you've got an entrepreneurial spirit, you need to just get out. So at what point did you go, no, I need to do this, and I'm willing to do the UGC to back my dream? Was there a point where you just kind of woke up and went, no, it's time?
I think when I started UGC, I just loved it, and I still do love it, but I see it more now as a stepping stone for me. So there was a point where I thought, do I go into like the digital products route? I knew it was always going to be a stepping stone to something more. And it's definitely been a stepping stone into my business. Like, working with other creators and talking with other creators has built that community where they've come along to my brand. There's no products yet. It's just in the launch phase, but I've got creators applying for PR. I've got an email list of 140 with no product to sell. I was just like blown away by how UGC has made that impact on my brand. I do feel guilt as a creator sometimes, knowing like, wanting to be able to pay creators and stuff like that. But at the moment, like every dollar is going to go into stock. So it's hard being on both sides and feeling that guilt of these people want to be paid, but like, we'll just have to see where it goes. There is definitely guilt there. And that's only because I've been on the other side. But yeah, I don't know.
With that guilt, I think comes a lot of respect that you have for those connections and those creators. So I think there's a difference between a brand that has never been in the shoes of a UGC creator and it just goes, oh, let's just do a gifted collab, never pay you. Like there are some brands that, aren't the best and they do really take their creators for a ride, and that's absolutely not what we're about, but it happens. That's life. It happens in every industry. But what you've got behind you is the respect. And even, we're really big on that transparency of you being able to say to these creators, look, I need you to know I cannot pay you now, but if you're willing to stay and you like the product and you back my product, then there will be a time where I can pay you. And if you're transparent, people respect that, and they're the kind of people that will come along for that journey with you. So it's, that process, don't feel that guilt, because I think it's part of growing any business, and you've got that backing to be like, I've been in your shoes. I know what it feels like. So you're not going to be unpaid forever, but this is just reality. And I think there's a lot of respect there. So I'd like you, if you can, to explain this new venture, the clothing brand you're building, because your story's amazing. And I think that connection piece and the storytelling behind that becomes part of the success of your business and how you can connect with other creators.
Yeah, so the plan was to sort of document the process from the very beginning. A lot of people said to me like, oh, you shouldn't start your social media. You've got nothing to sell. People are going to lose interest.
Don't listen to them.
Well, I didn't.
Good.
But yeah, I think just building like a community first brand, I'm not going to be able to do everything that I'm asked. Like I've had a lot of people go, can you make this? Can you design this? And I'm like, I'll try my best. I want to like try and be as inclusive as possible with my sizing and stuff like that. I will say it's freaking hard to do an extended size range. Like manufacturers make it hard. They double the price, and it's just, I'm trying. But yeah, I just want it to be like really feedback driven fashion. Obviously things take a long time to make, so you can't ask for something and get it the next day. But yeah, I think just involving creators, involving the community, building it all up has been really good. And hopefully I can launch in like October, but who knows?
Yeah. And so just because I don't know if we've really articulated exactly the clothing that you're making, who's it for and what are you doing? Why are you creating it?
It's pretty much just capsule basic sort of stuff. The aim is for it to all be comfortable. So whether it's for mums that have had cesareans and have a scar that gets a little bit irritated with tight jeans and whatnot, whether it's people like me that have had endometriosis surgery and, your belly button's full of scars and you can't have tight pants either. I just want it to be comfortable, but still look dressy and still look put together so that, I think you guys have talked about it at the very early days of your podcast about how you dress really reflects your confidence. Yeah, that's it. That's something that's really important to me too. Like I can spend a couple of days in my dressing gown and get nothing done. And the minute I dress myself up, I do my makeup, I look good, I feel good. Yeah. My content like radiates and everything I do is like 10 times better. So I want to kind of encapsulate that with the brand as well. Like, you feel comfortable, but you can still look really good.
Yeah. And I do love that because, I had both emergency cesareans with my kids, and I remember like that, however many weeks after, you just feel gross. Like things don't fit. You don't want things to touch you, and it's just really uncomfortable. So, creating a brand with that in mind and creating a brand for a community of women, especially that, I think we're just touching the surface of all the things that are going on inside us that we had no idea. And all of a sudden you're like, why do I look 6 months pregnant when I'm not? But I'm so bloated, nothing fits me. Like it's just, and heading into perimenopause, that's a whole different kettle of absolute.
You still find yourself wearing maternity clothes like 2 years after you've given birth.
You're like, oh, they've got room, and when I feel like I could just sit in them, it's really nice that you've got that backing and you've got that thought behind it and the messaging and the message to actually carry that brand. So what do you see when it comes to building your brand? How do you want to build that community around you, and how are you starting to build that community around you?
Honestly, like I probably should have more of a strategy in place, but I am kind of just winging it. putting my stuff out there and seeing what people respond to. And like I did a sample unboxing video not long ago and a try on video. And basically that's just me going, I like this. I don't like this. This is too big. What do you think of this color? Just because I like something doesn't mean that everybody else is going to. And it was really good to get feedback on the responses before I go and say to my manufacturer, like, I want to stick with this one or not. So yeah, just sort of building community and letting them have the decision.
Yeah. And are you hoping that potentially you could stock your clothing into different shops and brands? Is that what you're hoping, or making it all online? Or what, have you got dreams for what that looks like?
To be completely honest, I actually do not want to stock my clothes anywhere. I know that's probably a goal for a lot of people to like get on the Iconic or get into like little boutique stores. I feel like that would probably be a bit too hard for me to manage. I do want to have a team eventually, like one day that would be great, a little warehouse and little studio for photos and things like that. But I'm happy to just keep it online, keep it seamless, handle everything in-house and not, have the risk of losing stock. I mean, like I said, I worked in retail for 13 years. A lot of theft goes on and, a lot of damaged products. People spill their coffee. Like I've probably seen the worst of it being in a department store of all things. But, there's just so much more risk. And it's sad that brick and mortars sort of.
Reality, I think that's the thing, isn't it?
Definitely. No, I was just going to say my plan is to just be an online store and that's it at the moment. Things can always change. You never know.
Yeah. And so in your process of kind of building this, what's something that, like, finding the manufacturers and material and all that kind of stuff, I'm sure that's been a roller coaster ride. So what's the fun bits and what's the like, holy crap, can I do this? What's the emotional roller coaster like?
The holy crap part is definitely, I don't know if anyone listening is aware of what a tech pack is, but that's enough to make you change your mind on doing a clothing business.
Tell me what it is, because I don't think I even know what that is.
So it's when you're doing a custom piece of clothing, completely custom, you have to do pictures of the product, pictures of where you want everything. You can't just say, I want this t-shirt with a logo here. You have to do exactly 5 centimeters from the top. I want the logo to be this wide. It has to be these colors and you've got to get the correct color codes and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then from there, you have to do like your sizing chart, your grading, which is where you talk about like a size extra small needs this measurement on the sleeve and this measurement here. And you've got to do that for every size. If you don't, they might not make it right. So your stock will arrive and your extra small will be great because, well, for me, I'm an extra small. So of course I know what measurements I need, but my 2XL could be something completely different because if you don't specify, so that just takes days, not even hours, days to work out exactly every thread color.
Really, that would make me very anxious. Like even when I have to measure something, my husband's like, hey, can you just measure that? I'm like, I probably wouldn't get me to measure that because I'm going to get it wrong. He's like, no, you'll be right. I was like, I'm not very good at the fine detail of stuff. So that would be a lot. That would be hard.
That will be the first thing that I outsource if I start making money because it just isn't my forte. The design part is, but the technical measurements and all that, no. But in your first question, the good thing about it all, the most exciting part is when you do receive those samples and you get to see your stuff come to life and try them on and, you do get a bit disappointed sometimes when you're like, well, that's not it. But for the most part, it's so good seeing a physical product that you created in your hands.
Yeah. And I think, back to your point of people saying, oh, don't share it till you finish it. I think, as a consumer, strangely enough, I want to see the moment you open a package and you're like, this is not what I wanted, because it just shows that, you are, and if it's going to be an online store, especially, like people want to come along that journey and hopefully then you'll find that people are more invested in you as the creator than sometimes even the product. Like the product is like, cool, yeah, great. That's going to be perfect for me because, so, sharing your personal story, your personal challenges, finding creators that have had, cesareans or they've had endometriosis or aligning with brands like that can be a really smart move for you to build your brand in a way that people kind of, it's top of mind when they think of that comfort, they think of you. So I think, building that story and sharing those moments, although sometimes I think they can feel like, oh, no one cares. You'd be surprised how many people, like we watch Gogglebox for crying out loud. I love that show. Just watch.
I love it too.
TV.
Yeah, love.
So we do that as consumers. So taking people along, and then I think then you'll find those creators that really do align with you, that kind of have followed your journey, or when they kind of find your brand, they go, oh, I've got that. I know how she feels. I want to try this brand on and use that. So I think it's really smart marketing, and could be very exciting.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm showing the journey because, like, I've been trying to do denim and I've had at least 10
tricky.
different pairs.
Yeah.
Oh, it's hard. I've had 10 pairs and, like, I just keep getting people asking for denim, which I totally get it. Like, I love denim, but I can now show them that, hey, I've had 10 samples. Like, this is costing me a fortune and I cannot get it right. So at least I can explain to people, like, this is why I'm not doing denim. I've shown you guys all the crappy samples I've had and I'm calling it quits on the denim until later on, you know? Whereas I feel like if I didn't show the journey and I just went, hey, here's my brand, take it or leave it, people are going to go, what's she doing now? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's such a good question. Us multi-passionate entrepreneurs often go like, oh, I bet everyone's just like, what are you doing now? I'm like, just things. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
Ignore it if you don't like it, okay?
And so in terms of kind of just, as I really want people to understand, because I love that you kind of went there without even being kind of asked, in terms of UGC funding this kind of dream of yours, is that something like when you, and I know from my partner and even me as partner, like they're so supportive, but you can just see sometimes they're like, cool, yeah, you do the thing. Like, do you find that you're always trying to have to maybe prove yourself that, like, no, I can do this. Like, if we need more money, I'll just go and make more money with UGC. Like that, I think as entrepreneurs, there's something really cool about going, okay, there's a problem. You know, we need more money. Cool. I'll go and do some more UGC. I'll go and do that. Like, is that something that you feel now it's kind of a confidence booster in you? Because you're like, you know what? We need some more money. I'm going to do some more UGC. Is that how you feel about it?
Yeah. Definitely, like if I need something in particular, I'm like, okay, time to start pitching now. Like as much as I don't like to, time to pitch because I need some more money. I feel like a lot of creators will relate to this, but people don't see it as a job. Like I have people that go, oh, you can come to lunch on Tuesday because like you don't really work. I'm like,
Oh, you're
I do. Like
language.
I'm like, I can stop and have a cup of tea at any point. That's the good thing, but it is a job. Like I'm not home to just take my car for a service or do this or like queue up or whatever the situation is, you know, come and get me from the airport because you don't work. Like it's not rude. It's just a matter of people don't really understand or they see your content and they go, okay, that was 30 seconds. That's 30 seconds of her day. No, that's probably 3 hours because makeup, hair, setup, editing, the script, if you have to do a script, like, you know, there's so much involved and that's something I don't think people will ever understand. So there's sort of no point sometimes explaining.
No, I think it's something that like you couldn't have articulated that better in terms of the conversations me and I always have. Is it just we're so lucky, and I hate the word lucky because we've all worked our asses off to be here, but we've put ourselves in a situation where if my kids are sick tomorrow, cool, they have the day off. I'm home. Is it ideal? Absolutely not. But I'd take this life and this perseverance and getting up at 5 a.m. to do the things that I want to do in silence. I'd take that over going to a job I don't enjoy to do a job for somebody else when I know in my heart and soul I can make money when and if I need from my own creativity, from my own output. So I think it's so, and like you've said, people may never understand. And sometimes it's easier just to be like we've got a wedding business as well. It's a bespoke one. So it's not all the time, but people find it much easier to talk to me about that because they're like, it's a wedding business. They do weddings. They do like, it just makes sense to them where like this online thing, even though it's a huge success and we've got incredible creators and we love what we do, it's kind of like, I don't know what it does. So if we just don't talk about it, it's kind of not there. And so it really is something that as creators, we kind of need to just rally together and celebrate the shit out of each other because nobody else gets it. And they don't have to, and we don't have to make them get it, but it's so important that we understand what we're doing is so valuable and it is worthwhile. And we've put in the hours of work that nobody else is prepared to do because we believe in something better for ourselves and our family. And I think that's way more important. But I love that you've said that because I was like, yeah, that's probably most of our listeners are like, I feel like that too. I feel like that too.
Yeah. Honestly, like no one cared when I was doing the small brands and stuff. And then I had a very big household name and my family were like, oh my God. And I told them what product I got and how much I got paid. And they were like, what? Like you? And I was like,
Yes.
Yeah, like, but all my videos are this valuable. Like,
Yeah.
consider them all equal, whereas, they've heard of this particular brand and that's very exciting that it's actually real. It's like the other stuff's not. I don't
Yeah.
know.
No, it's just, I think it's fair to say they just don't get it because it
Mm.
doesn't fit the box. But what I suppose we want to make sure people understand, and I'm so thankful for your story because you've brought up so many incredible points, is that what we do is valuable and what we do is really, really cool because we get to choose how we work. We get to choose who we work with. And we get to choose, if we get paid or not, whether it's a gifted collab or not. So it's, we've got really so much opportunity. You've just got to have the courage to do it. It's basically like, that's as simple as it is. It's just got to have the courage to start.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so as we kind of wrap up, because I know you'd be a very busy, busy woman, I would like to just know from you a couple of things. We'll start with, we kind of touched on the start, but if somebody has listened to this whole episode and they've just got something ticking inside them, because the thing that we always hear is, I'm too old, I'm not good enough, I don't know where to start. I know that just start is the way to go, but is there a kind of a moment that you've had in your journey where you were like, okay, I'm so glad I did this. I didn't think I would be able to do this. Like, is there anything, I know I've put you on the spot a bit, but just like a moment in your journey where you're like, I'd love to share that with someone that is doubting themselves?
I think if you're mentally thinking already about starting it, that's the best time to start. I think if I did things any earlier, I wouldn't have had a clue what I was doing. Like, same with my previous business. It's okay to just start, but think about things for a little bit and make sure it's definitely what you want to do. If it's playing on your mind nonstop, like, do I do UGC? And you're looking it up all the time, that's a good sign that you're ready to go.
Yeah. And then I would also like to ask you about being, just because we have lots of parents and lots of mothers inside our community as well. And online, there's lots of us mothers trying to create something else. As a mum, how do you feel about creating something, and for your business as well as UGC, creating something that is kind of a legacy / your own thing? So you're creating a path that you're making all the rules up. Like, how does that make you feel as a woman and certainly as a mum? Because I think there's something in it that's just like, I'm doing this for, is there something that you can...
My husband runs his own business and it's, construction based. So you can see him doing the physical work and all of that. And it does make me proud to say, like, I am running a business and I am doing well in it. And hopefully the future one does well as well. My son will pack orders with me and stuff for my previous business and he can see that I'm working. But then at the same time, he said the other day, he's like, oh, I don't want to go to nanny's. I want to stay home with you because you just work at home. And he's only 2. And I was like, excuse me, like, I just work at home doing nothing. I can just have you with me all the time, But like, I just know that he's going to grow up and see me striving for things and doing things for myself. And that's not like, I want nothing more for my own children than to go after what they want to do, even if it's going to set them back, even if it's going to be a fail, just get out there and try it. And I'll always support them in doing that because when it works, it works.
Yeah. And also when it's kind of like, I think also when it lights you up, like, when your kids can see what you do makes you happy, I think that's just the most magic thing is when they, yes, you're working from home. My kids say it to me all the time. Sometimes they'll say things like, are you just doing that thing on the computer with Mia again? I'm like, it's not just a thing. We are very busy, but they kind of like, they know that that's where mum goes to work. She goes to work from home, but she has like a job, like dad has a job, but she does hers at home. But I think, it's also something that it just brings you joy. And so they can't help but be like, oh, okay, I don't know what she's doing, but she seems happy. When I need her, she's there.
He grabs the tripod and he's like, Mum, I'm making a video. Like, okay,
Cool.
He's all excited about it too. And I'm like, you're not making one, buddy, but
you can be my roadie. And so I'd love you just to share, especially because our community are full of incredible women and there's some men. We're definitely inviting any men into this UGC space. But for the women and for your brand's sake, have you got anything just to share with them so they can follow along your journey and let them know where they can follow that? So drop your handles. We'll put them in the show notes anyway. But I'd love you just to share kind of why you're doing this so they can follow along and be part of this journey with you, because I think it's a really special brand and needed, and we'd love to support you on your journey.
Thank you. So it's Zate the label, just one word, if you can spell it correctly, Zejt, the label. I'm happy to take requests if there's anyone listening that's like, I really have been looking for this. Like I did have recently somebody that's in a wheelchair and they've requested a specific piece of clothing that they'd like me to try and come up with. Probably a long way off getting that piece done, but I'm open to anything. So I can try my best to make these silly little tech pack things of what you want. But yeah, reach out, let me know, comment on my things. If you hate something, let me know about that too, because it all makes such a big difference.
Yeah.
Excited to share everything.
I think that's a really smart decision in terms of from a brand perspective, because if by getting that feedback early, although there's some feedback you can't take on everything, but by getting it early and quickly, it allows you to kind of stopgap any going into production of something that people are like, it's not really what I wanted. So I think, it's really smart, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that journey unfolds, because I think brands that do that, and I know that, Fate the label, they do that very well in terms of just sharing their process and the behind the scenes. And Mia and I we sent a TikTok to each other the other week that was just around the fact that what's the generation now? Gen Z, I'm going to say. I get them very confused. I'm like, I'm millennial, so whatever. I know that one up. But, this new generation of kids, young adults, marketing is different because like they've rewritten the rule book on marketing, which is really cool. But as, older marketers, we've got to understand that the more they can buy into your story, because they can, and we've got social media so we can see behind the scenes, the more relatable and respectable your brand's going to be if you kind of uphold those values and you show people your brand values. So I think it's really smart marketing, and we will celebrate it the whole way and see how it goes. So we look forward to seeing how it all unfolds.
Thank you. Well, it's nice to hear that from someone that's got a marketing background, because I don't.
But I think what you've done, and again, like we've said, is just doing that UGC has set you up to understand how to market a brand. And then it's given you that like, oh, okay, when I started my first business, I know what I was doing wrong because I hadn't done X, Y, Z. And now I'm starting this one. I know what I can do to kind of fuel that and fund that. So I think that's what's really cool about the UGC side of it, is it really does. It's so undervalued in, yes, you get paid for it. You get paid to create a video. That's cool. But the undervalued skill is this skill of learning video marketing and learning how to get inside a brand and create content that actually does convert in a way that you may never have understood prior to that. So I think that's a really clear message that hopefully people have taken by listening today.
Hopefully.
Well, fingers crossed. If not, I hope they had a good time.
Yeah, see you later if that's the case.
Yeah, that's fine. But thank you so much for your time, Gemma. It's been really, really nice talking to you, and we can't wait to see how this all unfolds for you. So all the details will be in the show notes. Go along, hit follow the journey. If you've got any requests, then hit Gemma up, because I think that would be really helpful. And if you're a content creator that is willing to support her in her journey, I reckon I'd be dropping in the DMs there as well.
Yes, let me know, because if you work with us from the start, we'll pay you one day, okay?
That's the way it's got to be, and that's fine. If you like that from the start, I think people respect what that looks like, because it just means that it might be you send them a sample pack or something every so often, and they get to try it and test it, and then you get that real-time feedback. So I think you're doing the right things, and I look forward to seeing it unfold.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Sweet. Good job. Shit podcast. Absolutely. There's so many good ones too.